My question is, we all know there's an issue with service delivery for Nairobi. First of all, we all residents of Nairobi. You have to look at Nairobi and Nairobi. So we all know we have service delivery challenges. All experience this at one time of the act. But I just want to have an idea. If you are to ask you this morning, what is the most pressing service delivery challenge you are facing? That is given a clean sheet of paper and told, can you tell us what you want us to fix as a matter of urgency before anything else? What is it that you are grappling with? What is it that you think needs to be attended to as a matter of urgency, and what you think should be very priority? Can we have some, and say another already? Okay, those are okay, but those are abstract. Can you use specifics? I'm not about specific and okay.
Morning, everyone. We are expanding the network of increasing number of buildings in the city. So the water and sewage system still remain more or less intact. I think before we go to develop the city, this picture expanded the other side.
Thank you very much. Water and sewage system. Very well. Let's have here. Sam.
Morning, everyone. Sam. I think our big challenge is on graduate with
Sorry for the name.
so maybe what it
Okay. This one is better. At the corner there.
Jambo Pedro. Now, mimi naitwa Kage. Natoka sehemu za Mbagala. Ile sehemu ambayo naona kama inafaa iwe mkazo sana ni upande wa health. Upande wa health sector inafaa iwe pamoja. Hapo ndio tunashida sana.
Health sector. Okay.
Yeah, my name is I think the issue I was pointing out is the issue of air pollution, air quality, the issue of dust, the issue of air emissions, and all forms of pollution, which actually is a very big problem on
Very well. Let's pick up the last one.
everyone. My name is Kevin. I work in residential electrical and I think what we need for that board is
Very well. I think you have that change of mind or revelation. Yeah.
I feel that we should be looking at more. But the number is more than crazy.
ECOWAS. So la caso
So if you deny someone that really wants to hold the very rich. So it is defined to solve and not to do for you.
Very well. I think thank you very much for those. Pushing towards realizing these solutions. We have communicated this gathering, this meeting, to the governor, to the senator of this city, and we have indicated that we are going to have an opportunity to engage with them to really put where what exactly the residents of Nairobi want done. So that is the spirit of this meeting today, and we hope to really have a very, very interactive session so that we can be able to make good use of our time here this morning. So we've lined up a number of speakers who are going to speak to us on different aspects of the subject of discussion. And of course, thereafter, as always, we are going to have an opportunity to also make our contribution. That particular session, like I said, I want it to be more of people talking about what is it that you can do in terms of solutions so that you can be able to address our problems. So I know they will be introduced, but quickly we have Michael Okello, who is joining us online. So supposed to be here, but he has And the same. And someone talked about security, and I agree with a number of security challenges in different parts of the city. So we are having a security program that we are going to launch. We are calling it Salama Mitani, working with various security agencies, starting from the Ministry of Interior and Administration, and also the Inspector General Office. And next weekend, the one coming after the one vacation, we are going to launch a program called Salama Mitani program. And it is basically trying to put the community at the center of security initiatives so that we can be able to make a significant contribution to our security issues in our neighborhood. We want to, because we are the shoes, we know where the problem is, we know the challenges in terms of security. We are facing a framework and a structure where we are able to work with the government here, but we are more like the ones driving solution, driving information, and also putting in place digital platforms where you can be able to have ease of communication on issues of security. So we are going to invite you to send some of your things. In the sense that even on the day it is happening, we were planning to have it on Saturday, this coming Saturday, but because of the interest that it has generated within the government circle, particularly from the ministry and the IG, they've told us that they want to be there in person, but Saturday they can't be there. So they've requested us the event on Sunday. I know Sunday is a very awkward day, but they've said that they have space on
I lost a lot of friends. As we intend to have as this, to mark this celebration, need to be there. Experience so that you can pass the residents association. Because we'll share more details. Yeah, and make sure, yeah. I want to say thank you. I look forward to the thought-provoking discussion that I had as today's forum, a meaningful and productive experience for all of us. I have read the speech on behalf of the chairman. And my name is the Reverend Kanake Ephraim, and I want to appreciate the moment. I know you have the privilege and opportunity to say what you feel. But Kara has been involved in reviewing Nairobi City County service delivery anytime they have that under the RRI program. And I have been appointed to be in that. So we know what they have been doing and what they have not been doing. But they have honestly been doing a lot of work. But you are not happy about it. And you know why. Thank you. And may God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Kanake. At this juncture, I would like to invite our institutional partner, Hans Seder. Did I say it right? Hans Seder, Mr. Robertson Kabuchi. Karibu sana.
in partnership with CARA and across the different counties that we are able to. This is the goal that we have, to provide such platforms and to hope that the more people talk and engage between resident associations, citizens, and respective government organs, there will be outcomes in terms of accountability and effective service delivery. And as such, I want to thank you, members or representatives from the different vibrant resident associations who are represented today, and other participants from the civil society, public institutions, and citizens in general. It is a diverse gathering precisely needed for today's topic on how to make Nairobi our famous or famed beloved city in the sun, green city in the sun, which is a dynamic regional hub, although under much competition from neighbors such as Addis Ababa and Kigali, and therefore the need to find solutions becomes imperative. And so, as we discussed today, your presence here is a testament to our collective commitment. We hope to identify not only problems, but through today's conversation, the different actors that are here, want to continue forging partnerships because they're important, to share best practices, and to share actionable strategies. And so your insights are so valuable, your experiences, your commitment, and so we look forward to engaging openly, to think innovatively, as it has been encouraged here. Perhaps to lay the groundwork for Nairobi that is truly sustainable. And I am glad to hear Henry say that they have even engaged the leadership of this county, the governor and the senator. And I'm glad because I would hope that the outcomes of this conversation today, the discussions, as I say, itafikia viongozi, so that we can take the needed action. And down the line, we can see some of the things that have been mentioned here are really taken into consideration. So I wish you a fruitful discussion towards making our city great again. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Caputo. At this juncture, I would like us to go straight into the panel discussion, because I'm sure you have questions to ask that need answered. I would like to invite to the front. Please, just make your way. I would also like to invite Martha Newton, the county government. Please join our panel. Welcome to the hot seats. Karibuni sana. Thank you for availing yourself for this very important discussion. Is Advocate Michael, is he, can he hear us? I'd just like to request, unlike in the previous, we might not have like a long speech. I just want you to introduce yourselves. Just tell us briefly who you are, what you do, and then we'll go into the question sessions. There'll be questions,
Some of the questions are prepared by the organizers, but also the people in this room will have questions that they'll ask. And I believe in the course of all that, we will make some meaningful progress. Maybe I'll just start here.
Good morning, everyone. Today, my name is Rogers Munda. I'm pleased to be here. I am the chairman of the Nairobi Physical and Land Use Planning Liaison Committee, and I'm also an advocate. Thank you.
Good morning. It's Martha. Is it working? Oh, okay. My name is Martha from Nairobi County, Director of Built Environment. I'm an urban planner and also the Deputy Director in charge of urban policy and research. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Planner Fawcett Komolo. I am the president of the Kenya Institute of Planners, and I'm happy to be among you here today.
Good morning. Is Brenda Nyawara. I'm an architect. I'm Vice President, Architectural Association of Kenya, and I represent the association in the Urban Planning Technical Committee for Nairobi. Happy to be here.
Thank you very much. And we'll start with the first round of questions. I think we'll start with Fawcett Komolo. There's a question here. A number of service delivery challenges in Nairobi have been blamed on lack of proper development plan or poor enforcement of the plan. Do you agree with this position, and how can having a proper plan in place lead to sustainable solutions to urban service delivery challenges?
Thank you, moderator. Thank you for the question. And I'd wish to, first of all, state that I agree with that statement fully. But I also wish to make small reference to the follow-up, as a follow-up to the question that Henry asked participants here today in the morning. What problems do you have in the city? And very quickly, in that order, we had these responses. There was water and sewerage problems. There was garbage problems, health, air quality, security, and then somebody summarized it with, of course, the issues that Hans Seidel Foundation is pursuing: democracy, rule of law, development. Now, the quick question that would come to mind is that if we have a problem in the city with water and sewerage, where is this need particularly felt? Because across the city, there are areas where there is adequate water. Some people even water their flowers with water in this city. In other places, there is not enough drinking water. So, is water the problem? Yes or no? Yes or no? You're confused. No, I don't want you to be confused. I'm just teasing your minds so that we get to talk about the issues. All right? When we say garbage is a problem, and you go to some parts of Nairobi, and you do not think that you are in this city. The city looks pristine. You have very well-kept neighborhoods. And it's not a mistake to live in such places. We all aspire to live in very clean environments, isn't it? Right? But you go to some other places and you find garbage all over the place. So is garbage the problem? Okay? So back to the question of water. If we say the problem is water, how much water do we need for Nairobi City? Where do we need water in Nairobi City? What is the distribution of water in Nairobi City? Right? How much is the city not dealing with these issues on a daily basis? I will tell you, the answer is you the people. You, not you the people, we the people. The Constitution of Kenya gives us that power, isn't it? We, the people, have the sovereign authority that we have delegated to some of our leaders, okay, including national leadership and leadership at the county level. The Constitution provides for very clear frameworks in which you should live in clean and secure environments. That is the Constitution of Kenya, isn't it? The Constitution provides that you should have adequate housing, that you should live in clean environments. Now, what happens if you do not live in clean environments? What happens if you live in places that are unsafe? I'm bringing this back to us, that the problem is we, the people, because we have not held the authorities responsible to account, all right, to provide all these things. But how can these authorities provide all these things? Services in cities are not provided in an arbitrary fashion. You do not wake up today, you should not wake up today and say we are going to build 1,000 houses. And you want to build some of these houses in places where people do not have housing problems. You don't just wake up to say that you are going to supply water. The city needs plans to operate. And the city does not need one plan. The city needs several plans to operate. Which plans? The city currently has a plan called the Nairobi Integrated Urban Development Master Plan, which was prepared in the year 2015. I participated in the preparation of that plan. I worked with the JICA study team that prepared the plan. Unfortunately, 10 years down the line, 0% of that plan has been implemented. 0%. Why? Because that plan can only be implemented through preparation of lower level plans, plans that are prepared for your specific neighborhoods. So if I ask you, where do you live? Someone will say Parklands. I will ask you, does Parklands have a plan? The answer is no. But you have developments happening daily, isn't it? So what is guiding those developments? You live in Donholm or Kayole or Comoros or Loresho or wherever it is that you live. Does that particular place have a plan that guides its development? Do you have a document that shows you how much water you need in your area? That is a big gap that exists in the management of our city, and which we, the citizens, need to start demanding for accountability. We don't want a situation where the city will come to start giving wananchi promises, oh, we will bring water, oh, we will bring roads, we will do this. I'm concluding by saying that the city should communicate that to you through a plan, so that when you look at the plan, you know what the city ought to plan. I come from the Kenya Institute of Planners. We represent planners across the country in government and in private sector. But what we try to do is that we also try to hold the government accountable so that the government can provide funds for planning. When you have funds for planning, service delivery becomes just the simple consequence of that. Thank you, moderator.
Thank you, Planner Komolo. I think the city is here today, the county. Maybe you can just say something in response to that.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, I want to agree with the sentiments, but also put a rider that it is not entirely correct to say new plan has zero implementation. If you look at the plan, you'll realize that there are several infrastructural projects which had been proposed, and I can confidently say quite a bit has been implemented, and a lot is still going on in terms of trunk infrastructure, roads, and sewerage particularly, and a bit of public transport aspects. Having said that, I also want to agree that the county requires to have gone a step further in stepping down the framework, the new plan. And there has been several attempts, albeit not very successful. But currently, the county is undertaking preparation of the development control policy. I want to agree with Mr. President. We need a lot of resources to plan the entire city. And we have to agree that Nairobi has an advantage of being the regional hub, as rightly put. So there's a lot of pressure coming from different areas and a lot of appetite for development in the city. So it is also a struggle for the county to try and catch up with that. And we are doing that. We have started the engagement in terms of preparation of the development control policy, where my panelist is also trying to assist my colleague in that. And we have also undertaken several public participations in the same aspect. And the stage we are at the moment is because we want to integrate all the comments, all the input from the stakeholders, from the professionals to the residents and to the developers as well. So having said that, there's, as His Excellency the Governor has been communicating out there, the county is keen in developing trunk infrastructure, particularly to ensure that every Nairobian is able to access water. And the plans are there, the strategies are there, but it's upon the county, the government, and even the residents of Nairobi to come together and agree how do we get resources to make this a reality. So I think for now that is what I can say, and yeah, we continue with the discussion as one community.
Thank you, Martha. Maybe let's hear from all the panelists first, and then I'll open the session for some questions before we proceed to the next set of questions. Is that okay? Is that okay? Okay, so just hold your questions. I know you have questions. The next question goes to Mr. Monda. What exactly is the role of your committee in regard to addressing urban development service delivery challenges facing the residents of Nairobi? And what are some of the achievements you have realized so far?
Thank you so much for that question. Before I delve into the question, I need to explain the role of my committee. As the president has said, we need to put the county to account for their actions. So my committee basically handles disputes between either residents and the county or developers and the county on applications that have been made to the county. That's the first thing that I handle. The second dispute we handle is complaints related to enforcement notices. If the county has issued an enforcement notice and you're not happy with the notice, you can file an appeal with the committee. The other issue that we deal with is we issue advisories to the county. But the biggest challenge has always been we can issue an advisory, but we have no power to ensure the county follows through whatever we have advised. For example, one of the biggest challenges that we encounter as a committee is under the PLUPA, the Act, the county is supposed to maintain a register of all the building applications that are going on in the city. If a developer wishes to apply to construct any building in the city, they need to advertise and put that register either online or physically in the office. But you find for the most part, the county is not doing that. So every time someone comes to a committee to complain, they're always out of time. So we've been having that challenge. We've issued several advisories, but none has been taken up. I also want to say that our role is like our court. So the only way we can enrich the building sector, the urban build sector, is if the residents file as many cases as possible challenging the decisions of the county in our committee. That is the only way we can either stop a construction or propose for its change. Thank you.
Just for clarification, you said your role is like a court.
Yes.
Is this like a tribunal or is it?
It's like a tribunal or a court. It's a quasi-judicial body.
Okay.
We hear cases, and if it's between a developer and a resident who's complaining that someone is building next to their house, so those cases come to us. So we are like a court.
And what is your turnaround for cases? Do you have many cases? Do you have backlog?
We actually currently we are on strike because the county, as usual, since I was appointed and sworn in January of 2024, I've never been paid a coin. So the previous committee has been also working for, I think, 3 years. They've never been paid. I don't know if it's intentional to keep us from the county. So that's the problem. But on the issue of time, our turnaround time is governed by the Act, where there are cases we're supposed to deal with 14 days, and there are some we deal with within 30 days. We don't have any outstanding cases presently.
So the issue is that people are not filing cases.
Yeah, there are no cases, and it's an issue of sensitization. You see, where I come from, I'm an advocate in private practice. So I only go to the county when we have a matter. We need our residents to be aware of the role of the liaison committee so that they file as many cases as possible challenging these issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think our advocate will advise us on how to proceed on some of these things. But before we get to him, I would like to pose a question to Brenda. The Urban Planning Technical Committee plays a critical role in regard to urban development. Please tell us more about the committee and its role, as well as some of the achievements it has been able to realize.
I hope the mic is on. Okay. So the Urban Planning Technical Committee came about in 2009 when there was a lot of delays, lack of transparency, accountability when it came to approval of buildings. So the then Minister for Local Government suggested or gave a directive for having the committee. And then over time, external stakeholders have been brought in to also represent, really truly believe should be the aim, or rather should be the focus when it comes to control. But we can still discuss some more. Thank you.
So do you guys deal with that, or is it policy?
There is a team for compliance and enforcement that goes to site and site inspection. They receive reports from their officers on the ground. When submissions have been made, there's a team that goes to site to verify the change of use, to verify that this public participation has been done for building approvals if that's needed. There's a team that does that. As AAK, we had flagged it long ago that there's lack of capacity in that team. We feel there should be more officers for that kind of work. There should be better technical capacity, because we have highlighted the number of times when we've noticed the architects, registered architects or registered engineers or registered planners hired by county may be lacking compared to the amount or the number of developments taking place, and also compared to the number of malpractice issues coming up in the industry. So definitely the team is there, there still needs to be more.
So do you prosecute?
We do not prosecute, no, not this committee.
So you just advise?
Yes.
Maybe just to pull it all together, let's bring in our advocate of the High Court, Michael Okello, who is online. Michael, the question is, resident associations grapple with a lot of challenges in regards to uncontrolled development, noise pollution, waste management, among others. What are some of the legal options they can explore to address such challenges? I'll repeat. Resident associations grapple with a lot of challenges in regard to uncontrolled development, noise pollution, waste management, among others. What are some of the legal options they can explore to address such challenges? Very good. Can't hear you, just. Can you check your audio, please? Just a minute, we're having some technical issues. But as we wait, from a layman's perspective, there are so many layers of government and laws and committees and all these that it's so difficult for some of us to navigate. You go here, you're told, no, we don't handle this. Go to this place. Now,
a city is supposed to have as high as 20 or 25% of its areas left as green spaces. That's not including the roads. So ideally, the built-up areas for any city need to only be about 40 or 50%. So if you factor in the roads, about 25%, open spaces, another about 25%, the city should have a very good system of this. Unfortunately for Nairobi, we are doing badly. We are doing not just badly, but we are doing poorly. Why? Because all that has been left as open spaces or recreational spaces, especially in upcoming residential areas, have all been grabbed. So there's the problem of land grabbing, which again I will leave to my colleague from the county to address, but it also still comes back to you, to us residents, because when a recreational space or a children's playground in our residential area has been grabbed or it does not exist, it is up to us to take that matter with the county and to ensure that whichever grabbers have taken them are brought to book. But unfortunately, we leave these things to happen and then later on we come back to blame everyone. So residents associations need to take this as a matter of fact. In fact, maybe we could bring this to the board of CARA and the CEO, Henry. You guys can commission a study specifically on open spaces and recreational spaces in the city, across the city. And you will be shocked by what you guys will find. And it is a very, very timely conversation that CARA, probably through support of Hans Seidel and other partners, can fund or can facilitate. We at the Kenya Institute of Planners would be very willing to join such a study in order to just show how sick our city is. Because they say these green spaces are the lungs through which the city breathes, isn't it? But we have grabbed everything and built everywhere, and the city is just choking and suffocating.
Allow me to make a very quick response to that.
You have talked of something good that is called a study. That is that I concur with you fully. But I want to give you one question. You cannot tell us that you are the one to report, yet you are the custodian of the documents of those lands. You are the facilitators of the acquirees. Are you getting it? And then you say that a resident is the one to complain. Why should I complain of something that you are the custodian of the documents? You are the people who are facilitating and giving entry to these people, and then you give them the security to protect their grabbing. So it is not the residents. It is the people who have mandated the duty and the custodian of our documents who are not sincere and corrupt. Thank you.
Thank you. A very good response. A very good response. But before you clap, because of that very good response, Henry, you needed to have told our colleagues who are attending this function that not all of us come from the government. Some of us come from non-governmental sector. So we do not facilitate these things that happen. We are a professional association of planners who actually are pushing for the city to be planned. That's all we are trying to do. But how can the city be planned if the citizens are not taking the city to account? Let me just demonstrate with one last point. About March or April this year, Nairobi City County was called for public participation for what we call development control policy. How many heard about that development control policy? How many actually appeared for the meetings at City Hall? Yes, my colleague from AAK, we were together. And if you appeared for that development control policy meeting, you will probably the professional associations, Kenya Institute of Planners, AAK, and others. We told the city that, look, that policy cannot pass as it is because a development control policy cannot be prepared in the absence of plans. So we told the city, allocate funds for planning, let the city be planned, including for this system of open spaces that I am talking about. Let all this be laid down very clearly in plans, and then you can develop that policy from those plans. That process is still ongoing, I believe. But of course, there was a question. That attack that you have given very rightfully belongs to my sister here. because she is the official of the Nairobi City County. But I know she has a very good answer. And they are also doing a very good job because they are also our members. Look, people blame planners at City Hall. You know, planners at City Hall are this, planners at City Hall are that. But a planner without a plan is like a police officer without a gun.
Mr. Komolo, just kindly allow me to interject you, sorry. My name is Jimmy Otana, I'm from Komoro President Associations. Yeah, you see, when you say that we blame planners with a reason, because for example, in our place in Komarok, yeah, we have those kind of undeveloped, what do we call them? Like those are people who just come and they want to start developing Komarok. And when we do even our letters to your places, to your offices, your officers, some of them even do not come to the site to check on what is happening. That's the big problem, and that's why we normally start. That's why you see Mr. Nani is complaining, because this thing rotates, it rotates all through. Last time I was, okay, we've been checking even online complaints about the planning, the officers. There's a lot of corruption from your side. Just accept it. And when it comes to residents, it trickles down to the residents. You don't even inform some of us. Like, for example, me, I'm a resident of Komarok. I'm an official there. Your committee, our committee, we should work in tandem so that whoever is coming to even to construct, we speak with one voice. You see, it's very critical for us. That's where now we can start now coming up with the word of development. But when these people just come and do things the way they want, it won't help us. Mr. Monda, you're doing a very good job. And unfortunately, you are on strike. Now that you are on strike, people are doing things behind your back because sasa unajua hakuna pesa, you see. You don't have money even to come and to the site to check on what is happening. But maybe after this forum, we'd like to have some contacts with you so that going forward, we see how you can be working together with your committee. Thank you. I think Mr. Sadiq also has something to say, yeah?
Yes, so, you know, I agree with what the gentleman is saying over there in some of the things that we have. You know, we have serious problems. I also go with nature trails and we go to see these various forests and everything. We find there's about 200 something acres of the Karura forest that is going there. If you see the city park that used to join the Karura forest is now only on 60 acres, which is also not maintained. If you go to see the cemetery, the British pay money, they're maintained. But if you go to the other side where the Kenyans are doing things, there's nothing happening. Because all of that is gone in terms of when you're talking about the 25% cover. Where I stay on Gitanga Road, we have a bungalow that was there earlier, has got 81 flats. Within the 1 kilometer radius, we have over 3,000 something units. Same infrastructure, same messed up pipelines. They put pipelines to the other place, they don't give us water even once a week. It is such a slow flow that it doesn't fill up. Yet I get 3 SMSs per week asking me to pay my bill. These are all this stuff that we are talking about, which I said even earlier. Unless you fix the system, it is not going to work. All of you guys here, you can see it, you can give us very nice big stories and tell us all the halabala that you're going to do for when you leave this place. Nothing really happens. My fellow counsel, I'm also a lawyer. I've seen in terms of how things operate and you're striking and all these things. We are talking about protest. You know, Parklands is about to protest in terms of the awkward construction and the haphazard construction that is going on with the constant flooding. If you have one time when it's raining, go to Brookside. Temple Road, to be specific, converts into a river. Literally a river. And we are talking about city planning. I think any of you have any idea what exactly you are sitting in that position doing there?
Okay, thank you. And the question is just not just one person, it's to the whole panel.
Can I speak?
Yes.
I think we may get lost sometimes. Before I sit as a chairman, I'm a resident of Nairobi first. Resident of the planners has said very clearly, we need to be accountable as a county. I'm not an employee of the county, but I act as a chairman of the liaison committee. What I have realized, and the president has said very clearly, and we all need to understand, Nairobi does not have a plan. That's what I can say. And until we have a plan, that is saying Parklands has to have four floors, Kilimani 4 floors, Langata 4 floors, in Karen half an acre, one structure. Until we have that plan in force, we are not going anywhere. So as residents, what we should be fighting for first is for the county to have a plan. So that even if you're coming to our committee to complain, you can just show me in Kilimani it says 4 floors. Why are they building 16 floors? And I have a right to issue a directive, stop that construction. So until we have a plan, proper plan passed, we'll have a problem. Thank you.
Okay. So there's no plan. My understanding is that there's a building code. Is there a building code or no building code? Is there a seal or no seal? Is there a building code or no building code? And whose work is it to develop the building code or the plan?
A quick response is that Nairobi has a master plan, the new plan. As I said, we are supposed to cascade it down to local level plans. But in the interim, the county is currently undertaking preparation of the development control policy, which will be able to handle some of these of development control and building regulations.
I am happy to take the heat a little bit on behalf of our colleagues, but perhaps the architect can also say something about, because architects are also involved in this.
Let me give an example so that you can see where blame lies. In the case where someone is proposing, let's say, an apartment building in an area that was previously for single unit homes, he goes and applies for a change of use using a registered planner, privately practicing, and pointing at you, but a registered planner. They submit to county having no objections because they have no document, let's say development control policy not yet ratified, they have no document to say, no, you cannot do this here. When they submit, they get their approval, they have the architects, engineers, quantity surveyors who provide the details, drawings, and everything that they need to put up their building. And when they submit, there's a building code which guides how they can do the building. Some actually observe setbacks, ground coverage that you're asking for, where there's not much runoff left to go to the road. Some do not. But when they're submitting, they know very well what is required by law on how to build. At the point of construction, many cases where we've had guys now going back to site and building beacon to beacon. Guys going to site before they even get approvals, already constructing. And then they have their officers or their thugs, where the county officers, when they come, they're threatened and chased away. Or they would say, tukona permission from Mkubwa. Whoever Mkubwa is, I cannot categorically say. When it's built, problems arise with the neighbors. The next neighbor wants to construct and they say, down the street, this guy has gone up, or this guy has built to the building, to the road reserve line. And then how can county tell them, no, you can't go up, or no, you can't have this use in your neighborhood? What basis can the county use, yet the development control policy hasn't yet been ratified? So you can see the blame goes on several levels, several people, and it's not just one. It's a whole system of, we have to start from the very neighbor who is offending the neighborhood, the professionals enabling it, county which cannot really have the instruments yet to really tell them, no, we cannot do that. The professionals who are now on site also continue to enable it, and the neighbors, even the investors who allow them to do that because they are buying those properties. They are pushing that market towards that area where now anyone can just build because the market will pay you back. I think the blame is not just one-ended.
We can listen to the many, we don't waste a lot of time until cows come in an estate, whether he has approvals or not, without participation. They have not come to us for approval, but we know they have come to some of our committee members. It's very unfortunate. We've been a chairman there and a member of Kara board. I will not, by me, that we must not accept. You are leaving the people to fight there. Estates, the county is putting her hands off because they don't have documents. Governance. I'm sorry.
Just before we continue with the questions, I can see there's a lot of questions. I want to pose a question, or to just ask the audience a question. What is your experience getting the county government to intervene when there is an issue, say like somebody wants to do some illegal construction and all that, and you want to stop them? Is the process straightforward? Is it a simple process, or you don't know where to start? Let me take our questions from the back. The people at the back, you're very quiet. Ama hamna maswali, mambo iko sawa? Okay. Yeah, just.
Why do I take this microphone? We have the lady there dancing like a cat on a hot tin roof, trying to justify what they do within City Hall, which we all know what you do. In my experience, which is going on, Jumbi Road Residents Association, some Chinese came, they want to build, and we had many meetings. We've gone up to Kara, City Hall passes, we went to Ocheng in Kara, he talked to him, he revoked that letter, and shortly after that, I believe he was visited, that's Analo, and he revoked the revocation. Now, what is going on, simply put, is corruption. Let's not go around in circles. Because the Residents Association, the residents are private. They are the ones who should dictate how they want their neighborhoods to be. When the businessmen come, destroy a neighborhood, sell off and go, they're not going to live there. But they come, as you see, look at Parkland. I do not know, because City Hall should be in a position to tell us to have 100 flats where there was one house. How do even those cars get out of that building? Because the road is still the same, small road, and water, sewage are not catered for. Those are the things we first need to look at to have a civilized society. Nothing more. A civilized society is one which listens to each other. But when you've got officials at City Hall, these are our employees, behaving like we owe them reason to be in Nairobi, they've got it wrong. And when I heard her say that the plans are not there, the demarcations are there on the construction of certain areas. But most of all, the citizens have to give their go-ahead. But you get the NEMA person, the City Hall person, after that you're told, go to court. That's it, our refrain. So we go to court. It costs everybody because of one person coming to destroy an area. So let's not go round. And I think this sitting arrangement, Bwana Ochieng, is wrong, because these people sit up there like they are overloading us. You should be sitting in here. So that, yes, so that whoever is coming to talk comes there and you listen to without everybody else. When you sit there, you feel you're separated from us. If you're in City Hall, we employ you. And let us have that decorum that City Hall should first ask for the residents go ahead on the 10 people. It's very important. So that, as the Mzee was saying, Bishop, we do not get people now starting to have conflicts, going and breaking down buildings because of 1, 2 officials at City Hall having collected money to compromise the Nairobi that we want. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Cyrus. When I came here, I thought that under a subject that is delivery of service in Nairobi, challenges there too. And I thought we are people who are responsible for delivery of services from Nairobi County here, because we are residents, that we can ask them questions. And we also know the challenge, they tell us the challenges which they have, and then you can tell them our position. Now, the way I'm seeing this thing is like the people who are here are like us here. They are crying the way we are crying. and we are not making any progress. I don't know whether the other people elsewhere who are listening at us, you can answer questions because we want to have answers. There are issues in Nairobi. We live there and we know them. So that we can ask you why we don't get those services, or those services are delivered in an efficient manner. The responsibility of residents is to pay, or to pay the rates which are supposed to be paid, and then they are supposed to get services. So when they don't get services, they have a reason to ask why. About the plans we are talking about, and all those other things about the budget, you call us in the meetings of your public participation when we are making our budgets, and we come there, and we present our views, and we expect you to know everything. So even as we sit here, we don't believe that you don't know the problems of Nairobi. Each one of us here can see something and you know them. These problems are not by everybody, including the other leaders, even political leaders, who come to campaign to us, telling us how they are going to solve our problems. So the problems are known, but here we want to ask you why and what are the challenges? What do you expect us to do? It is not wrong if you carry things to us.
Bluetooth mode.
Responsibilities. No, it is you. And I don't know that you are the ones, because I don't know what this is the group which actually should be answering the question. Maybe the people from the county should be able to. So, take, for example, simple things like potholes. Why should we have a pothole in Nairobi for 6 months in a very busy road? It has not been repaired. I'll give you an example. For example, in Kindaruma Road here in Kilimani, then I stopped passing through there because the potholes, which were so big, some were even about 1 meter deep, for 1 year, and bothered. Is it that really nobody in Nairobi County knows about those potholes? It is the responsibility of those people to do that. Car washes, which are all over and which are disrupting and even which are very annoying, because the car wash at the side of the roads where people are, they have motorists coming to get their cars washed there. They are not facilities, sanitary facilities for those people. The water is contaminated, and there is a lot of noise, a lot of dirt there. Nobody sees them really, and you want us to come and say that here. So those are the kind of things we are talking about. We are talking about real things. And these people, they know them, and you also know them. There are those plans we're talking about. There is a procedure which is followed, and you have
AUX mode.
The enforcement units within the country are supposed to do it.
FM mode. Bluetooth mode.
And so, what we want to do is to see, actually to get clearness, or to get you people explain to us the problems and how you would solve them, and nothing else really. You can't just start, telling us that we are what, and we are not looking for somebody to blame. When you get a blame or you blame somebody, we don't solve the problem. Even if you know so and so is to blame, that's not the solution of the problem. We want the problem to be solved.
Thank you, moderator. The questions are coming thick and fast.
Yes.
And if we continue picking some more, we could lose some of the very good questions that are coming through. So perhaps you could allow us to respond to some of this before you take that next round of questions. But first, before maybe we take these questions, and I believe my colleague Martha and Wakili, an architect, help in taking some of these questions. To the best of my understanding, this event that we are having today is part of the bi-monthly talks held by CARA, isn't it? And if you look at the list of participants, we come from different sectors. The whole idea is, this is civic engagement. And civic engagement is where ideas are shared, isn't it? Now, the problem that we might have as a country is that we all know our problems. We all know our problems. But do we know how our problems are supposed to be solved? Because otherwise, we will be people who complain every day, and I use we because other than being a planner, I am also a resident of Nairobi, and I have seen Jimmy has been my leader in my estate for a long time. So I come from an estate as well. But I'm here to give you the technical perspective that we can complain about corruption at City Hall from morning to evening. We can talk about lack of public participation from January to December. But if we do not know the means that we can follow to have the authorities responsible respond to our problems, I am sorry, all our complaints as wananchi will just be noise. So the question is, how do we wish to approach this? We from the Kenya Institute of Planners held such a conversation with what we call the Northern Bloc. There was a meeting that we held, the residents associations from the Northern Bloc. And I don't know if you were there, sir, in the meeting that happened at somewhere along Peponi Road. And in this particular meeting, we were very specific, including the Parklands issue had just been raised in that meeting. And out of that meeting, the residents of Parklands said, no, we are not taking this anymore, we are going to court. And what did the residents of Parklands do? They are asking the county that, look, we don't want to interfere with how you guys are doing your work, but it is our constitutional right to live in an area that is properly planned, isn't it? So the residents of Parklands are in court right now seeking for help from the court of authority. It's not only the residents of Parklands. Other residential areas are also going to court, if you are not aware, or probably have already gone to court. Yes, now that is the question. You are aware. Now, in a civic engagement such as this one, I believe maybe Kara can provide us with better guidelines on how best to take the question. We should feel free to share ideas in a manner that allows for ideas to flow properly. Otherwise, it will be attack against attack against attack, and we will not make way forward.
Yeah, please. I think maybe we need to put the context of the conversation and the team that is here with us today. We have somebody from the county government. Government supposed to implement all this we are talking about. We have somebody from the Urban Planning Technical Committee. I think we're asking questions, maybe we should ask from that point of view, so that if there is something technical and the video is appraised, then we can talk to, and father can be able to give an input. We have advocate, okay, I think is able to speak now, who was supposed to around the legal aspect of some of these issues, that Lagos is supposed to say, what are these legal steps and how do you go about it, so that we can be able to be aware about these issues. So this was more awareness session, but also getting a response from the county government on some of these issues. That's why our sister matter is there. So maybe I should ask those questions like
has failed. Service delivery has failed for all the rest which have been guided by political interests. When you come and tell in public you want a 75-story building constructed in a place where the infrastructure itself cannot handle that 75-story building. What is guiding this? Is it a policy from the county government that has made the governor to go and say, we put a 75-story building? Is it from an institution from the national government that wants that 75-story building? Or is it self-interest? This is what we must put on the table here as we are discussing these issues. Otherwise, I see total dishonesty, total confusion, even within this debate we are discussing here. The other thing is, if you go to the county government, the policies in the county government, if I am not wrong, are governed by the old constitution. I don't think the county government has brought their policies to after the 2010 constitution. You will have to clarify that to us here. And these are some of the things that must guide our debate when we are discussing, are these policies, whether it is the policy on urban planning, whether it is the policy on safety, security and disaster management, whether it is the policy for transport. Are these policies up to date with the new constitution, or you are still running on the old constitution? These are some of the things we must bring open here. You are running with the bylaws instead of, we have changed, we are now in the new constitution. That is why you can wake up in the morning with political utterance and say you want a 75-story building, you want a road built under someone's property. This must change.
Let me take some questions from the back. The people at the back have not answered or asked any questions.
Thank you very much. My name is Joshua Mutua Waima. I run a CBO called Social Conscious Initiative. I'm a civic educator and a politician. My question is indirectly towards the county representatives who are here. But before I go to my question, as my colleague has said, you know, we may debate here from morning to evening, but all the problems being faced in Nairobi is as a result of poor governance. That is point number one. My first question, I have so many, but I think I shall just minimize to two. To the county representatives who are here, what are you doing with the nonsense of illegal selling of commodities outside people's businesses? You are very much aware, those people who own shops in town and in the residential areas, they pay rent and they pay for the business permit. But you have allowed people to crowd alongside people's shops, like vultures celebrating on a dead elephant. What is the county government doing towards that one? The other question is about drainage. It is very pathetic, both in the residential areas and urban. What is the county government doing as far as drainage is concerned? Because at a given time T, we shall take upon ourselves and invoke Article 1 of the Constitution of Kenya, sovereign power, and we decide to rule the county government. Thank you.
Okay, I want a question from a lady. Ladies, you've been very quiet. Kama mambo iko sawa tu. No, part of the question should be okay.
treasury. And the treasury will say, nimepeana pesa. So what does this show? It shows that exactly the issue is about budgeting. The issue is about governance. There's no one who is held accountable because we are now constrained by the issues of devolution. We need to start speaking of how we get Nairobi to be an independent entity and Nairobi to stand on its own and not a county. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. I understand the advocate is now online. Maybe we can hear from him before we continue. Can we just hear from the advocate? Okay, just a minute.
Thank you very much. Let's come back how we start. Asking about the diseases of Nairobi. Realize we don't want to content with that. To look for solutions, and this is and we need to look at relevant areas. We narrow down, we need to focus on high-rise buildings without water and sanitation. I think we need to look at key areas without meandering too. And as we have people involved in planning, I think we have people give us answers and guidance. And I just want to add, you mentioned Nairobi. Encourage local plans for it. And finally, I want to say, when we talk about Nairobi, let us not only look at the perimeters of Nairobi, we need to talk about the metropolis. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Solutions, and we need guidance. Solutions. Let's just hear from advocate, Mr. Okello. Karibu sana.
Can you hear me? Please confirm if you can hear me.
So, yeah, just say, can you? Yes, we can hear you.
In this country, actually promote of Kenyans as citizens both at the level of their residents, at the level of their stakeholder engagement and participation in urban strategies. Many laws and provisions have been cited, but I want to say that alternative dispute resolution and approach to addressing urban challenges is the best way to go, especially when we are dealing with costly processes, and especially where not everyone can be heard in litigation when they are here in court. And that's why I started by saying these kind of meetings are very important. So without need to repeat what has been said, I want to suggest various bodies or institutions that can be the first ports of call as regards the environmental issues and urban challenges. Alternative dispute resolution is one. We have the National Environment Tribunals as regards the environmental impact assessment studies and licenses issued where steps have not been adhered to or the members of the public raise issues. NET is one aspect. County urban boards and physical planning liaison committees are also very, very important areas of call. We also have public participation under the Constitution, which can be called for through writing of letters and consultation with the relevant offices of the CEC in charge of land and physical planning at the county level, and also through the professional bodies such that have been presented here, such as Institution of Surveyors of Kenya, Law Society of Kenya, the planners bodies. Another aspect that I'll mention is that complaints will always be channeled in writing through relevant bodies in charge of public land. Where public land is not put into better use, whether in the hands of the county government or at the national level, we can channel to institutions like National Land Commission. Ombudsman can't be overemphasized. Again, they have a channel of investigation, receiving claims and complaints, and adjudicating over them. That one said, I think the associations at the residential level can also aggregate themselves as we've known them, and Kara is doing this. Through advocacy programs, then there could be pooling of resources, and resources don't necessarily have to mean money. I am an advocate of the IFOT, and wherever I stay, there are other professionals. We have accountants, we have planners, we have valuers, we have lawyers in residential areas where we stay. We can pool in these resources together and channel our muscle and metal on how we can approach these institutions through a collaborative way. Other than land, I think environmental challenges and issues are one of the emotive areas, and you might have noticed it even in this discussion. My suggestion is residential associations can organize themselves through some good channel of leadership. They have a collaborative way of channeling their complaints in writing and approaching these institutions. And through that, then even without reaching courts, we shall have actually operated within what we call the exhaustive principles in addressing disputes. Another thing that I can also suggest, because when we deal with issues of urban challenges, then there's what we call integrated urban plans. Today we call them, or I rather call them, sustainable plans. In the formulation of sustainable plans, then residential associations, including the members who've spoken so vocally and passionately in this meeting, we should be ready to participate and attend those meetings the way we've attended this one and contribute. And in our contribution, it should be participatory and inclusive. When there is a strategy, urban development strategy in terms of policies and plans that are being discussed, instead of attending in person, then the members from the residential associations can have a focus within themselves, and they address their issues at that local plan level, as Wakili properly said it. At that local planning level, they can address the issues and say, we need roads in this place, we need provisions of open spaces for our children, we need provision for the expansion of the drainage and sewer system because of the higher development of apartments, etc. So once they leave that place with that joint collaborative agreement on an action plan that they need for that particular area, then it is easier even for the strategic planning and formulation of integrated plans, consider that. And finally, I request the members to continue reading the proposals of national or county urban planning and development control policies. They classify areas based on zones, the uses, and you can always question the emerging development approvals that do not align to them, and of course, again, you use those channels. Another final bit that I'll mention, and I can see the county government is represented here. County government is expected to be very cordial and welcoming. The residential association should approach the county government as a partner and a stakeholder who is empowered under the law and even through the functions under the fourth schedule of the Constitution, and discuss these issues through a caucus or a town hall forum like this one. And you raise your issues in a very cordial, in a very formal, and in a very interactive way, and you have timelines. In such meetings like this, when you have timelines, you've raised this issue. What is your comment from the county level of administration? What timelines do you give us, and what are the mechanisms for enforcement and follow-up? I wouldn't want to talk much, but I want to assure members that the Constitution protects the interest and right to clean and healthy environment. The Constitution empowers the county government to implement their functions under the fourth schedule. The Constitution empowers the members of the public to participate in the strategies that are meant to build and better their livelihoods. And that is what we call livable and sustainable city. Nairobi is fast urbanizing, Nairobi is fast growing, and the challenges are expected to increase. Can the residential association have a strategic plan within their local levels and say in the next 2 years, with our population explosion, we expect these and these and these services to be provided? Can we table this through the county government in writing ahead of time? Urban development and plans should be sustainable, and our focus should also be sustainable in the sense. Thank you so much, and I hope we can have questions and more discussions. Thank you.
Thank you. There are questions already.
Wakili Okello, thank you very much for that valuable input. I have a question. I mean, from what you have said, we are in a situation now in Nairobi where things are going downhill as opposed to going uphill. What will be, in terms of constitutionally, in terms of information, if say that we need to transit Nairobi from county government to national government as one of the solutions, and then also creating a commission that can govern Nairobi in terms of, we have the relevant stakeholders in that commission, like the National Lands Commission, we have CARA to represent the association, we have AAK to represent Architectural Association of Kenya, we have a legal lawyer in terms of constitutional matters, sitting on that commission so that it is run parallel and they can be accountable to us as residents of Nairobi. Asante.
Thank you. Maybe I can take one more question to Akili.
Okay, my name is Coleman Onyango. Like I said, I work in the social safeguard space, and I have one question for Akili. My question to Akili is, in some of the residential areas, or residences where we live, we have actually gone to court to protest some of these developments that we see. And as we speak, we are facing a situation where the courts have pronounced themselves and have gone ahead and issued injunctions, or court orders for that matter. But in between, we are seeing the county government actually issuing, authorizations for excavation works for some of these developments. Now, my question to Akili is, in a situation like that, where court orders are being disobeyed by the developers, what is the recourse for the residents?
Wakili, maybe you can take those questions first.
That has been raised is with regard to whether the roles in the county government should be run parallel with other institutions that are already operated. I think that one will be increasing duplication of offices that has been a challenge in our systems, especially in Kenya over the years. My proposal will be that we consider the constitutional bodies that already exist, and these constitutional bodies that already exist, they have their mandates. And where it regards public land, we have National Land Commission and the purview of National Land Commission in its engagement regarding public land. We have a Commission of Administrative Justice, which is an independent body that can take the complaints. The other body that we have is actually the court that can issue orders for enforcement of the right, because the right, especially those ones that touch the environment, the court aligns and actually the law has obligated the courts in what we call positive obligation to implement the international obligations that are aligned to sustainability and development. And you know, sustainable development is an aspect in the principles under the Constitution and even the National Land Policy. I wouldn't vote for parallel operations of other bodies, but I will vote for what I call ecosystem-based approach to management of our urban areas, where ecosystem-based approach then, through relevant offices, we can have focuses and stakeholder engagements through the powers that be within the residential association and the approaches that we find through liaison committees and the CEC in charge of environment in the counties. Then we can have a dialogue. There are existing laws. What I was emphasizing, and I still talk about it, is like, let's have a strategic plan at the levels of our residential areas and highlight the issues that affect us. The issues that affect persons in Karen will not be the issues that affect Mwananchi in Kibera, but they are all Kenyans. The specificity in our approach to addressing challenges will be our victory. We can't address things generally because there's no uniformity in the challenges we face. So I will vote for having at the grassroots level and mitigation to support you in this. I think this is the best approach rather than trying to toil through avenues that might not really yield much. So my suggestion and proposal is still the laws exist and the laws have been provided to address the challenges that we face. And Kenya actually has a set of laws that offer reprieves through various channels. So I think you can check the jurisdiction of the court through the legal counsel that you operate with and the on which court with jurisdiction can address the particular issue that needs to be addressed. Is it the enforcement of the court order that has been ignored? There's a method and approach to address the court in respect to contempt of court based on the orders. And the courts are very stringent and strict on the orders that are issued by them that are not adhered to. You could pursue the channel of constitutional petition. You could also have an approach through the relevant urban areas jurisdictions and institutions under the Act. I think the Urban Areas and Cities Act also provides some guidelines on approach to addressing these issues through the constitutive boards, and those avenues can be pursued. The main important thing is that we need not to throw in the towel. We can exhaust all these avenues: complaints through National Land Commission, the Ombudsman, the National Environment Tribunal, the liaison committees, and at the local level through litigation. Litigation is deemed expensive. We could check on these alternative methods and see how we can discuss and address our issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Akili. I think a lot has been said. And I think we've reached our time limit, so we need to be pinning it. But I want us, before we close, I want us to come up with solutions. And we also need some guidance from the panel on how to proceed going forward. Because it's not enough, I mean, we all know the challenges that are there, and these are real challenges. There are issues that have been raised on governance. I think I'll only allow the lady, because we've not heard from a lady from the audience, I think from the panel we've had. Just allow you to.
Hello, good morning. My name is Victoria Wanene, and I have a specific question. I'm optimistic you have an answer to. So, given the serious concerns that have been raised about the Ngong's Forest Hotel development, including the lack of public participation, the commitment of work without NEMA licensing, and the use of early entry permits to bypass proper scrutiny, what steps are being taken by planning authorities to investigate this specific project, and how will similar environmental violations be prevented in the future development within Nairobi to protect our green spaces?
That was very specific. I think any of you can take that.
Well, I have to admit I don't have the specific details of that particular. I can take it up and give a very concise response to that. But in addition, I have to say that there are so many other projects which have been initiated and even commenced irregularly. And I can attest that having followed the procedures as per the laid down regulations in law, we've even disapproved some projects, and Brenda here is my witness. There are several projects which have been presented to the UPTC, having been scrutinized and having not followed the law, and they have been disapproved, and notices given to the developers to discontinue development. Now, what happens after that is what the procedures the Wakili is trying to explain or has explained. And I think the law and the system and the structures obviously predicted that there'll be challenges and there'll be issues in implementation of law. And that is why there are so many other procedures which should be followed if a developer does not comply. And just last week we had a meeting with the UPTC, that is the approving committee, and we agreed on some of the actions that should be taken, including regulating the professionals, because even that particular project is being implemented by a registered certified professional who should also, there should be accountability across board. That is what we are saying. And I think with time, we shall invite even Kara, which is also represented in UPTC, for us to be able to share some of the action steps and strategies that we are proposing to the cabinet for approval, so that we can streamline the whole process of development control, so we can take it up. Yeah.
I don't know if the Alliance of Residents Associations will follow up on some of these things, but just to sum it up, the questions are many. We might not be able to get to all the questions, but you can stay behind and interact with the panelists, but we need some guidance from the panel. We've heard of all these policy documents and laws, the building code, the county rated plan. Maybe can you give us some guidance on what are these key documents that we need to familiarize ourselves with? and what they applied, because there is a feeling that there are too many laws. We just want service delivery. There are too many laws. You go this way, you're told, no, there's another law here, and somebody gets away with it. So what are the key documents? Just give us some guidance on that.
Okay. Documents upon which the committee decisions, and I'm sure county makes decisions upon, of course, Constitution of Kenya, the Physical and Land Use Planning Act 2019, Building Code, which was enacted now in use, National Construction Authority Act, Environment Management Coordination Act, Public Health as well. I'm sure a lot of health issues have been brought. Land Act, Land Registration Act, Occupational Safety Act. A lot also applies when it comes to fire risk. The Kenya Airports Authority, because some submissions actually touch on them having to give clearance. There's so many others like the Railways Corporation Act, the Water Act, Highways Act, like so many. There are so many guidelines, I would say. We're not devoid of laws and policies to guide. The thing is implementation and actually following all those laws.
I think the question then is, since the laws are there, I've heard there's also a building code. Since the laws are there, the implementation is the problem. We, as the citizens or the people, we have entrusted the different public servants who are our trustees to implement these things, and they have failed. When we go to court, it's also a very long and tedious process to go to court. Anyone who's ever gone to court to litigate a matter, you know how difficult it is. I personally have done a number of cases. It's not fun, it's very costly. Most people are not able to afford it. And also the technicalities in court. If you're not a lawyer, you just be left floating. And when we come to you, our professionals, you throw the ball back at us that we need now to be the ones to hold these people accountable. I mean, this back and forth, I don't know.
I think I need to market my liaison committee a bit. We were enacted in the act. We are supposed to hear and determine all disputes relating to building approvals, application for building, change of use, amalgamations, and enforcement notices. As I had earlier explained, our turnaround time for building approvals is 14 days. We handle the dispute within 14 days. And for enforcement notices, it's 30 days. Filing fees of appeals in our court liaison committee is 3,000. But we don't see that many cases, but there are complaints all over. So probably it's a marketing issue, sensitization issue.
Are you on e-Citizen or Huduma Center?
No, we are not on e-Citizen. The filing fees are paid to the county.
I don't know. I really don't. If I open, let me just take one question from, or maybe a couple, one from this side and one from this side. Let me take, there's someone who's been, yes.
From Bumendo. Now, I'm doing my own research. What I came up with is that in Kenya, 3,000 people are dying every year because of cancer. 6,000 are being affected every year. The American universities have done a research that cancer is caused by environment. Now, when we build in this city, when I came to Nairobi 50 years ago, everywhere there were trees. Now it is not there. And we should make the research on this tree. There is not a single tree apparently there. These people are going to die like rats. Thank you.
Thank you. As we wind up, I'll just take from this gentleman. And this is the last question, please.
Thank you very much. My question is to Chairman. The Chairman of Ngei Phase 2 Langata. I am currently facing an issue which we've been fighting in court for years now. The developer has approvals from the county. There was no EIA report that was done. There's no approvals that we've been given. There's basically nothing that we have. We have taken the case to court. We have appealed, and there's still nothing that is being done. Right now, there's a court order instructing the OCPD to let the developer in the field and give that public land, which is being used by primary school students, which is being used by my residents, of which that same piece of land, if it goes, the impact affects other estates down the road, which I can see one of the chairmen from who is my neighbor, who's also seated there. The impact of that is going to be very grave. How do I go about it? Yet, everything that I've taken to court has been thrown out. How do I go about it?
It's one of the most difficult questions because our last stand with protection is the court. So if the court fails, obviously need to be anarchy. That's the solution. I can't even explain because once you've exhausted all the appeal mechanisms in court, there's no other option.
Thank you very much. I don't want it to feel like you are being ambushed. We are just trying to understand. We are citizens just like you. We believe that you are also part of us. But there is a problem which we are trying to get to the bottom of. I once had someone talk about the issue that many Kenyans try to apply private solutions to public problems or collective problems. There is such a thing called the common good. And a city that is working is a common good. It will benefit all of us. You might be privileged, but your child might grow up not privileged. So we want to create a city that works for all. And I think the Gen Zs put it best. Kenya must work for all Kenyans. And Kenyans are asking questions because we are getting to the point where the people who we delegated authority deliver these services, to do this thing, are not doing what they were mandated to do. And we, the people, are suffering. So we are asking, what can we do? What are other solutions? Or do we need to take back the power back to us and deal with it ourselves? Because there are other ways we can deal with it. The Constitution does allow. There's an issue that has been raised. I'm just trying to summarize most of what has been discussed. We won't get into the specifics, but I think from the conversations, the biggest issue I had was the issue of governance. The question is, I want to pose to you, can you govern without law? That is the question. Can you govern without law? And if you cannot govern without law, are our laws good enough? Yeah? And those who flaunt those laws, are there mechanisms to hold them accountable? Because it doesn't matter what we do. At the end of the day, For us to be able to live together, we must have a code that we all agree on, that we can live on, which is the law. Yeah? You have to know that your rights are protected under the law. So, this issue of governance, we do take it seriously. And for those who are working with the government, you are trustees. Government works under trust law. And there is such a thing as breach of trust. And Kenyans are feeling that you have breached, a lot of our public servants have breached the trust that we the people entrusted them with. And we are not getting the services. You see potholes every day. They damage our cars. You hit a pothole, you have to go and replace the suspension because of that pothole. There's water. I personally, for instance, lived in a place where the water was had fluoride. My children today have fluorosis. I'm paying very huge dental fees just to fix their teeth. Yeah? Why? Because clean water is a common good that was never delivered. Yeah? And there are many cases. You've had case after case after case after case. And this is not just to the panel, because the panelists are also part of us. Yeah? There are case after case. So the question is, what do we do? Where do we go? I think before I invite Ms. CEO to come and just give the closing remarks, just think about those things and let us continue engaging. The panelists will be around if you need to engage. If you have burning questions that have not been answered, please feel free to engage them. Karibu sana, Henry.
Yeah, maybe before I my closing remark, I think it's only fair to give just 1 minute each to give their closing remarks, and especially from the point of what do you want the resident associations to do to support your work? Because we are in this together and we are here to help each other. So where or how do you want us to work with you as resident? What do you want us to do to support you to be able to succeed in your work? As a closing remark, maybe you can add 1 or 2 things. Please.
Thank you for that question. For the liaison committee, I would encourage the resident associations and the residents in general to file cases at the committee complaining about the various urban sector issues. And secondly, I would also like you to keep making noise, give the county pressure, especially on the issue of the county failing to provide a register for all development applications in the county. That noise will actually help. And then secondly, you need to push the county to develop the local plans. It will also assist the committee when we're handling the disputes to know the specific area the dispute is coming from and which development plan governs it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for the invitation. For us, I want to pose this question to the chair. We believe in the Nairobi County Neighborhood Association and Stakeholders Participation Act of 2016, and one of the resolutions from the UPTC meeting was that we need to establish and really implement it. That is one of the resolutions we have taken to our CEC for endorsement at the cabinet. So we invite Kara to assist us in the actual action steps that we should take to implement this, because I believe the residents associations have been given a very strategic role in collaboration with the county. On the other hand, I want to mention that we have a register, we have an up-to-date register as at now of all the decisions, approval decisions we have made. All you need to do is to request through the office of the CEC and it will be made available to you. So Chair, we've taken the sentiments of the liaison committee, and as at now we have a register. The other thing, I would just want to request that we also have a look at the land use policy, which was prepared concurrently with the development control policy. Let us read those two documents together, so that, because it is the basis of the development control policy. So if you are blind to the land use policy, which proposes strategies that can help us implement the development control policy, I think we are also being biased. Lastly, I would want to say that through the chair in the next forum, from where I sit, I am from the Department of Urban Development, and I represent the county, yes, but I would request that in the next forum, let us have the panelists or representation from the key infrastructure and service provision sectors, so that we're able to handle the issues in a very comprehensive manner. And we look forward to further engagements with Kara and the residents. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Henry. I wish to make only about 3 observations. Observation number 1 is that this city belongs to us. The city of Nairobi belongs to the residents of Nairobi. And to the extent that you are the leaders, please take charge of how this city is run. Number 2, I wish to suggest, and opinions can differ on this one, I wish to suggest that the problems of Nairobi that we all talk about are not governance problems. They are planning problems. We are not getting services in the city, not because the city has weak governance structures. We are not getting services because the city has no plan. And so we have left service provision in the hands of individuals. Service provision needs to be captured in service provision charters, which are the objective of plans. So for whatever area that you represent, please let us join hands in petitioning the city to plan. Jimmy, you can petition the city to make a plan for Comarox. And that plan will define how high buildings should go, and plans are prepared through public participation. There is no way that the city can grow through written meetings or meetings of public participation. Let public participation be captured in the planning process. Then the third thing that is also very important, as it seems as if Developers Association has become more powerful than Residents Association. That's my personal opinion, because the Developers Association seem to be having their way against the Residents Associations. Now, to the extent that we are going to sit back and complain and complain and complain, our complaining is not going to help us unless we become strategic. So let's become strategic as residents associations. And the only way of becoming strategic is to organize yourselves to push for the city.
Say, make use of the associations, professional associations for planners, engineers, for architects. We have a platform called Mulika Mjengo, which residents have actually utilized to report developments they feel are not compliant. And that is us also working on your behalf. We are on the same side. Even county employees, the planners working there are also trying to make it better. Some come short, some processes come short, but at the end of the day, we can never get forward if there's no specific step 1 to an action. A specific site, specific individual, specific developer. That's the only way to make any change.
Thank you very much for those closing remarks. Wakili, you're still online. I think it was also in the panel. Yes. 1 minute for closing remarks.
In attendance for the great work, the bi-monthly series is a great fit. Secondly, the residential associations and all stakeholders should always categorize the sectoral aspect of the challenges. If it is drainage, then it's underwater and sanitation. If it is waste management and disposal, then it's under environmental issues with NEMA and the like. So once we segment the issue, then the approach will be easier. Secondly, we should collaborate at the local planning level and address the unique and peculiar issues we face as a residential association in our immediate locality. That said, let us believe and still commit in a conviction to know that we are stakeholders in the nature of our system of governance as we speak. We can't look at it in isolation and say those people. We can't point at the city, county and point at them from this side. We are one. We participate in the elections. We need also to participate in the strategies where our input is required, especially in the formulations of the plans. And maybe finally, let us be united and try to find the best way to approach the offices directly, but with a unified point of contention and need, rather than divided, pleas and suggestions. Let's have a composite request that we make to the relevant office once we have compartmentalized, we categorize the issues that we face. Then it will be very easy to have our issues addressed. Court is of the last resort, in my opinion. We can exhaust all the alternative mechanisms that we have. And if we need to go to court, then we need to consider that we must consider the jurisdiction of the court, the sectoral component of the issue we are addressing, and how effective that process will be. Thank you, and God bless Kara and the stakeholders.
Sana for that, all the panelists, and thank you for sharing with us your thoughts on a number of issues. I think we are more or less having consensus on certain things. We are not agreeing on others. But the one thing that we all agree on is that the biggest problem that is bedeviling this city is lack of a proper plan. I think that summarizes everything, because everything that we are talking about, everything we are complaining about, if we had a plan that we are following, then certainly we'll not be where we are right now. So that is a cross-cutting challenge that we are having. But I'm happy with what Martha said from the county government, that the county government is now keen on the implementation of, it's called the Nairobi City County Community and Neighborhood Associations Engagement Act. We actually crafted that act. We put it together during the time of Kidero, and we agreed with the county government that they're going to make sure it is implemented. There's been some frustration on that, but it's good that now you are keen on its implementation, because one of the provisions of that act, if I remember very well, was that the county government will be able to make sure that at every neighborhood, they recognize the association in that particular area, and they're not going to take any decision, especially planning decision, without the endorsement, official endorsement of the resident association in that area. And the county government has not been keen on doing that, but that is one of the major provisions in that particular area, including one that the association can also act as agencies for the county government to be able to make sure that services are undertaken in an efficient and effective way. And if there's a problem, then action can be taken. So we will take up that. We'll be able to engage so that we can be able to ensure that some of those provisions are actually undertaken. I'm also happy to hear that you are saying that now you have a comprehensive approval register available. I understand you're saying that if you want to see the register, we ask for, we come and inquire, and then we are given access and all that. But it will make sense if you digitize this process, so that I don't have to come to the county government or write a letter for me to be able to see the register. We should be able to access these things digital. We are in a digital world, and we are able to now see all this information, even from our phone. So that's something that we are going to take up again with the county, so that that register I talk about can be actually digitized, and we can have a platform where I can be able to have access, make sure that it is happening. But overall, I don't want to go through what has been said. It is clear that we have challenges. It is clear that we know what the problem is. It is also clear that we know what the solution should be, because I've had a number of recommendations in terms of solutions in this room. So what we need to focus on then now is the solutions, because we want to make things work. And as Kara, and as we've always done, I know we've engaged with the county on a number of areas, some specific issues affecting neighborhoods, some cross-cutting issues, but we are still not where we want to be. And when we were engaging the county in this conversation about this meeting, we agreed that we are going to have a session now as Kara with the county government, where we are going to table all these issues. And of course, we also spoke with the senator, because now we are pushing from all ends. And I think there's somebody from the senator's office online. So separately, the senator, separately the governor, we are going to engage and present all these issues. And we are going to ask for a very clear roadmap on what must be done to address these issues moving forward. We've had this conversation before. Some have been implemented, some have not. We certainly cannot afford to give up. We must continue pushing to make sure things are happening. So that's in a nutshell from the discussion I've had since morning. That's what I can be able to summarize in terms of what needs to be done moving forward. We are still keen to hear more, particularly about the solutions, so that we can be able to walk the journey together and make sure that we are making a difference in our city. So with those remarks, I want to thank all of you for creating time to be here. Thank you for your patience up to this particular point. Thank you for your contribution, because we did say that we are going to have an interactive session. It has been very interactive. Thank you for what you've shared. And also thank you to our panelists for sharing with us your perspective on the subject of discussion. Also giving us some technical guidance on what we need to know. Our partners, I know Robertson has left, but we are, because without their support, we could not be here today. So we appreciate Hansdale Foundation for that particular support that has enabled us to have these platforms for engagement, for civic education, and just to make sure that as citizens, we are on the same page on what we need to do and what the authorities need to do moving forward. So as I close, let me just repeat for those who came in a little bit late, is that still as part of pushing for service delivery, we are looking at the aspect of security. And I did mention in the morning when we started that we are going to have a security program. So next week, we are going to launch what we are calling Usalama Mitaani as Kara, which is a community-centered security approach that will now enable us to work with the ministry, to work with the Nairobi National Police Service on issues of security. So we're having a launch next week, next weekend. It will be on a Sunday. I did explain why it is on a Sunday, because the ministry has taken a lot of interest, the IG has taken a lot of interest, and they want to be part and parcel of that conversation. And they are not able to be available on Saturday, so they actually kindly requested us to have it on Sunday so that they can join us in that discussion. So on Sunday from 11 at the August 7th Memorial Park, it's called Bomb Blast. We'll be there to run that program and also highlight some of the activities we are going to take moving forward as far as issue of security is concerned, because all these things we are talking about, if you don't have security, you can't even talk about service delivery. It starts with security. So you must of all fix the security and then now talk about everything else. I think that is important. So with those many remarks, I want to thank you for coming. We have some tea and snacks at the back. Please serve yourself to something as we continue interacting and networking, because one of the reasons we come to this kind of platforms is also just to know each other, network, get some links and some leads, and be able to promote yourself, whether in terms of your business, your service, and share ideas. So please feel free to network and engage with each other. So can we have a volunteer to pray for us before we break? Yes, Tab.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's unfortunate that even my question was not answered. But in brief, I can say that we need just to take this to court individually. Don't take the county court, sue these people directly. I think we'll get the answers we want. Because the county does not need and individual is the one who needs. So sue him.
Thank you. Let us go back and pray. Father, we thank you. We thank you for this meeting that was organized by Kara and other stakeholders, my God. It is a plan that you made us to be here and discuss matters of equal accord. We thank you because the message has been conveyed. Father, we believe and trust in you in everything we do because you are the living God, the creator of everything, my Lord. We thank you. We thank you for our nation and the peace in this nation. We thank you for the children we are having, Jehovah. We thank you for our families. We thank you for the future of this generation. As we discuss issues, we are not discussing issues for our personal benefit, but for our future generation, my Lord. Father, we thank you for the support that also the organizers have been organizing and supporting Kara. Bring more supporters, Jehovah, financial supporters and human resource, Jehovah. King of Kings, we believe and trust in you. The dedication of this office of Kara, we pray for it. The dedication of this nation also to open doors for Kara, we pray for it. Father, we thank you for those people who have volunteered their time, their jobs, Jehovah, for the sake of this meeting, Jehovah. For the idea they have received, let it prosper. Because you said that my people perish due to lack of knowledge, and they have come to acquire that knowledge. Father, I believe and I trust in you. All shall be well. In Jesus' name I pray and believe. We also appreciate our moderator. I think he's done a good job, right? Asante sana, was for silence. Thank you very much.